July 29th, 2020. And welcome to Battle Vault, a No Dice, No Glory podcast where we discuss the flames of war, World War III Team Yankee, and here in the United States. This is episode 8. So, Tom, what are we here? What are we going to talk about? Has anything happened?
Yeah, there's been some gaming going. We got some stuff to talk about. And if you thought we weren't going to get out a podcast this month, remember, we committed to one per month for this whole 2020, and it seems like a good year to do them in. But yes, we are trucking on, and we will cover past events. And believe it or not, we have reports from at least 2 war game events, one from June and one from July. And then we're going to go into talking about the Firestorm Gazala campaign, and particularly the multiple battles for Point 171 that Ed and I have played. And then in our Heroes the Hobby segment, we're going to bring in a guy who is a true hero of the hobby. If you had attended Cyber Wars last week, you can give a lot of thanks to him. But we've got an interview with Mitch Reed. And for our audience out there, of particular note, he is a proofreader for Battlefront. And he also has written the article on the the Waffen-SS D-Day book for us. For No Dice, No Glory. So we decided, since he's an expert on that force and has played it a lot, to come in and hit some of the high points of the books for us. And then we'll go back and talk about future operations, things that are coming up. And we also will not forget rules that Ed forgot. We definitely have a good one to cover this time.
I forgot already.
Yeah, I remembered. So without further ado, Ed, why don't you let us know about some of the recent events that have happened over the last 2 months?
Okay, good thing you sent me this email. and I didn't think there was anything going on, really, because of all this mess that we got going on. But actually, we had 2 tournaments. It looks like on June 13th, we had what was called the Siege of Caen there at Leesburg, Virginia, for 100 points, 100-point tournament there. And someday we're going to get over to Virginia, Tom. We got to do that.
We have played a tournament there once. We did that when we were TDY out to Fort Lee.
Yeah, and that was a good thing that our work sent us to Virginia. We just happened to take advantage of the time we were there.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was 100 points, and looks like our buddy Jim Best Jr. Took the number 1 slot there with his Soviet Churchills. Second place, we had Patrick Rice playing the Greyhound Panzer Grenadiers.
Yeah, that would be the Panzer Grenadier formation with the Greyhound command card. Reduces their price a little bit and takes away some.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, and then another Churchill force was played for our 3rd place winner, William White.
Yep, and that was we knew he was there because this is the event that last podcast we knew about, but we didn't have any results of. We only knew that William White was there with Churchill's because that was on his Facebook post. So now we have the complete top 3 and can confirm what happened there.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
All right,
Churchill's. I tell you what. Yeah, that's, I don't know. What do you think? We got that SS book coming out here.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that.
Change the outlook on Churchill's. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really surprised to see British Churchills in the top 3. I don't know that that's a list that I could do very well with competitively. Soviet Churchills in late war can be a thing because they can get so many of them. But I think you still need some heavy hitting firepower, to crack those things, and the Germans got it. So so we shall see. So what other event do we have recently?
Well, in Minneapolis, they're playing up there. Dreamers Vault Early War. They had an early war tournament. Gosh, I wish we'd have an early war around here too. Haven't played early war in so long. But it was 1550 point back on the old point value and the conversions they had to do. But and so with these, we had Jason Hobbs, another name that rings a bell here, playing a Matilda tank force. He got 1st place. John Cederberg, surprise there, playing Soviets, Strokovi unit.
Yeah, I didn't know he had any Soviets. I think this is the first time I've heard of him playing Soviets in World War II.
Yeah, I don't remember him being part of the Soviet group either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we got Tom Gall.
Yeah.
He played the French mech infantry. So, yeah, that's a tough force to play. I wonder if he was playing the 45s there on the trucks. I can't remember what they're called, but those were.
Oh, I'm sure he had to. The Lafleys.
Lafleys. Yeah.
47 millimeter anti-tank guns that are rear mounted on some trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know any French player that does well that does not have those. It's kind of have to have them in there.
So it's funny too, because historically they just tore up everything. They would hit and run, and Germans couldn't keep up with them. If the French had more of those units, maybe the outcome would have been substantially different.
Yeah. My buddy Chris Grau was there. Chris.
Yeah.
He came in fourth, and he was playing a squadron reconnaissance, of Hotchkiss tanks, and he had the Lafley 47 millimeter trucks too. And he said he almost cracked the Matilda list. I guess he had he'd put actually got good flank shots in or something, but then failed firepower tests. So he was most disappointed.
Sadness made it that close.
Yeah, that close. So a good deal. So, anyways, I'm sure that they were using social distancing and masks and all that stuff. Hopefully, the situation. We'll talk about future events coming up that we know of, but you never know how things are going. I guess we're still kind of increasing a little bit in some states, and others are kind of flatlined. So we'll see how it evolves here. But we do know of at least 2 other tournaments to be played in the month of August. So we'll talk about those later on. So let's go. Let's go into Firestorm Gazala.
Oh yeah, you can tell them how you whooped me again.
Yeah, multiple times. So
remember after each game.
Yeah, right. So we played. Ed and I played the .171 battles, right? The extreme southern tip of the British line, and where the Indian Motor Brigade was encircled immediately in the first turn of the campaign, and ultimately they did fall in the second turn. But Ed and I played 3 games from that battle before that happened, right?
Yeah. Every turn we play that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, surely I can break the Brits. No, didn't happen.
No. Well, you ran a force that was. You were playing a historical representation of what you expected to be there. You were not running. You were not running a force that was tooled to be the max min and for optimum efficiency. And
right.
So you ran a characterful, colorful force that was appropriate for the scenario. But man, it had a tough time.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you want me to tell you a little bit about the battle for everybody?
Yeah, well, you can kind of summarize at least the first 2 kind of in the same. I mean, because they all kind of follow the same kind of outline, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. I was playing the German force. It was the first time we played. It was pure German force, infantry, and it was supported by the 200th Firestorm unit. So this was an infantry assault going in with a Firestorm infantry unit. And I thought with my schleppers and my martyrs in there, that would handle and I also had the 50 millimeter anti-tank guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that'd be enough to handle your potential tank force if you brought it. And sure enough, you did. And those cheap Crusaders.
Yeah.
Those cheap Crusaders in mass. There's just so many of them, and you played them real smart, real conservative. You didn't throw them in piecemeal like the British probably would have done in real life.
Well, we in all 3 games, the Crusaders were my reserves, and all of them were. So no Crusaders were on the board. So it was always a question of, could you break the infantry and get into the infantry before the Crusaders show up? It was pretty much the scenario in all 3 games. Although the first time we played, the first time we played, you tried to be a little tricky. We were using the battle plans, and you knew I was picking defend, and I think you picked defend too. Is that correct? Or no, you picked maneuver.
Maneuver is what we got.
Yeah, and then we got. I think we ended up playing dust up. Right,
it was dust up. That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so and that's one where once those Crusaders start showing up, they're swarming all over the place. So
yeah,
and then
that's exactly what happened.
And then the next two times you went for a defensive battle, you went for the attack posture, and I was still just keeping with defense. And we ended up with hold the line in one, and what was the other one? Bridgehead, right?
Bridgehead.
Bridgehead for the last one. And in that one, you had the mixed German and Italian. You had two formations.
I had two formations, and I had a whole bunch of Italian infantry going in, and I had the Firestorm infantry as well. And I had the Legions of Rome. That was I was counting on numbers, and by taking the Legion of Rome, I was able to reduce each unit by 2 points. So that allowed me to get more infantry on the board there. So my intent was to overwhelm you. And with artillery, I had schleppers, I had mortars, and I had numbers.
Yeah.
And my numbers were torn apart every time by those machine guns.
Yeah, which were always an ambush. So how often? I mean, this is one of the great things about playing, historical scenarios and situational battles. How often would Vickers medium machine guns be your ambush unit in a Flames of War tournament? Probably never, right? You probably wouldn't even take them.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, and that's when I was playing Grenadier Infantry without any half tracks in I think it was a late war tournament, and a guy took machine guns, and I tell you what, I'm thinking, I got you now. He popped them up too, and it caused me headaches, and in our game here, every time. And not only that, with your dice.
No, they were hot.
Your dice.
Yeah.
And there's a graviton field around my house. It almost guarantees you to roll a 4, 5, or 6 every time.
Yeah, I'm using those Battlefront British dice, and those little roundels just keep coming up. So, there was good, but those
England. I wonder how they did.
Well, and your dice, it was always a game of dice, but fortunately, I was able to get a lot of pins in those games. The defensive games,
and that was the other problem.
You would have a couple units that would not unpin, and so that gave me time to concentrate on the ones that were coming forward. So the pinning effect, and it wasn't much, 25 pounders, a 2-inch, a 3-inch mortar section that had to reroll hits, and those Vickers, but it was just enough to pin a bunch of units and see a lot of those units not unpin. So then I could just concentrate on the dangerous targets that were still closing in. So, and you also only want to play at 80 points, which we did, plus Firestorm.
Plus the Firestorm units, right.
Yeah, I think maybe you wanted to go at 100 points and sneak in a platoon of Panzer IIIs. I think that
good. Panzer III short barrels would have been more help to handle your guys.
Yeah, well, it's not because if they can get in and start assaulting much quicker and start pushing stuff, then so knowing that you were having an all infantry force kind of allowed me to say, okay, I'll just put all my AT stuff in reserve. But if you had a unit of tanks on the board,
I was going to take, but you didn't know what I was going to take, but you knew I play usually historical, so
yeah. Well, I mean, once we got there and we saw the force layout, I'm just saying I knew. Like I don't have to have my Crusaders on the board; they can wait. I knew that because you had an all infantry force, so I knew that the chance of being overrun quickly were not high. Whereas just one unit of tanks could have gotten in there, and it would have forced me to make my 25 pounders an ambush unit, or forced me to put the 6 pounders on the board instead of reserves. So and then that would have meant I would have had to leave other things off. So again, I just kind of. Being able to, what we should have done is had me deployed without even seeing your force. That would have been far more realistic. Then I would have been a little bit more like, I better keep some AT stuff on the board. But anyway, so it was good games, but certainly tough. And one thing that amazed me was, what was that unit? the 45 millimeter bricks and mortars. Those things are hard to use.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you don't, you got to kill those things quick, because if you don't, they're going to put out some bad news for you.
Yeah. But in every case, they only had three teams, and they're an infantry unit. So you kill one, and they're you knock out one team, and they're last stand already. And then with your horrible Italian Hordes of Rome card or whatever it was that made them, last stand on a 5+, they weren't hard to pick off. So I don't know how you use those things effectively, because they only have a 16-inch range.
You get them up close in concealment.
Yeah, well, maybe that would help
in the process of moving forward.
Yeah, but if you bring them out in the open, man, they're toast.
They're toast.
One team gone, and they're checking to run and likely to go do so. So
yeah, you got to tuck the formation commander right there with them, and I did.
Yeah.
But what you did is those machine guns not only took out the bricks and mortars, but also took out the headquarters and half of the other infantry platoon as well.
Yeah. I remember your headquarters getting 2 hits, and then you rolling 2 ones, one for the CO and one for the XO.
Yeah, I was cursed.
That was pretty spectacular. They were good games. Well, the campaign has been a ton of fun. At this juncture, going into turn 2, I think we had something like 21 games played in the first turn. And then I believe 27 games were reported in the second round. So that's 48 total. But we're now on the closing in. Theoretically, it's supposed to end this weekend, this August 1st weekend. But Mark Goddard, and we failed to mention that this is being done in conjunction with Breakthrough Assault. Mark Goddard is actually running this, as well as being the Axis CNC, and I'm the British CNC in this thing. But he's thinking about extending it one more weekend. So
that'd be good, because then we might be able to get 2 games in.
Well, have you seen the battles for turn 3?
Yeah, it doesn't appear the Germans are have very good tactics. They got a lot in front of them to get out.
Yeah,
don't look favorable.
Well, there's 4 battles, and 2 of them the Germans are out of supply.
Yes.
So Germans/Italians, and one of them the British are attacking. So we can get up some Matildas on the board, because there's where the British are attacking, they have a Firestorm Matilda unit.
Yeah,
so kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
There's one really big tank battle just south of Tobruk, and then you have Rommel trying to push in to the west side of Tobruk the east side of Tobruk with all he has is air support and himself. He has no other Firestorm units.
And he's going against 2 other Firestorm units, from what I recall.
Oh, yeah. My favorite combination, the Grants and the 25-pounders together.
That's almost a hopeless battle.
That's a lot of free points, yeah. So apparently the Germans have been struggling, according to Mark, so far, because they don't have the good matchup with Firestorm troops, and/or they're out of supply. But the one where they're in supply, just south of Tobruk, there's 2 Panzer III Firestorm units there. So that could be kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, that's 40 points worth of extra free stuff. So
yeah, I'd imagine everybody wants to play that battle.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there hadn't been a lot more of that. But then again, if there's units, they don't count towards your formation strength. So you still, it's really which panzers do you take out. So that might be a good one if you want to get a lot of Panzer IIIs on the board. You can do that one. And
I got them.
Yeah, I know you do, and I got a bunch of grants, so we could do a Panzer III grant slam. I think we did that once already.
Yeah, that's what it ended up being with my luck.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. I'm just so glad that under this COVID situation, I even played one of these games on Tabletop Simulator. In fact, I played Mark in the first round on Tabletop Simulator. Hadn't been able to get a game with him on the second round, and he beat me 6-3 in one of the first round battles. So that was a lot of fun, a good experience for me to learn how to use that system. But hopefully we'll get a few more games in out of this campaign. And then I believe Mark is planning on running a market garden. He's trying to do market garden in the fall once the SS book is out. I think September, which makes sense because the battle occurred in September, right? So,
yes.
So he's going to be doing that. Now, that's a longer campaign. That has 7 or 8 turns, and this is only a 3-turn campaign. Has a much bigger map, has a lot more battles per turn, so it'll be a lot more involved. So I don't know if he's going to want to ask me to be the CNC again for one of the sides, but hopefully someone else will get a chance to do that. And it is fun. When we use we use Tabletop Simulator to do the orders too. He set the whole thing up, so it was really well run. So if you do get a chance, if he asks you, anybody out there, to be the one of the commanders, please jump on that. It's pretty easy. You pretty much just tell them what you're doing, and you see the dice rolling, the counters moving right in front of you, and so it was very good. Yeah, it's a great system. And we also need to mention Gileason from Iceland. He's the guy that designs these things, and you can go find them on the Battlefront website. This Firestorm Gazala, I guess, is under final tweaking, so it's not posted yet, but it should be up there pretty soon. So good stuff with that. Yeah. So cool. Well,
I'm enjoying it, even though I'm rolled over. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, you're a good player that way. You just find something to enjoy, no matter how bad the situation is. So. Yeah.
You can throw away your depression medication and come over here and kick my butt every time.
Indeed. Well, let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to have a interview with Mitch Reed, who's going to talk to us mostly about the Waffen-SS D-Day book, and then we'll talk a little bit about Cyber Wars with him. And then and I will come back after that.
For a while.
Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a great idea.
All right. Well, that's what we'll do.
Being bold is lame. Hard Knocks Games is awesome. You can get board games, trading card games, role-playing games, hobby supplies and tools, Gundam, Warhammer, and more. Find us on Facebook or hardknocksgames.com or visit us on the Dixie Highway.
All right. Well, now is the part where we wanted to bring in some external voices, and sort of external, because who we're going to have on now is actually a founding member of No Dice, No Glory. Certainly well known out there in the wargaming community. Had a big involvement in the recent Cyber Wars online convention that just wrapped up this past weekend. But I know him, and most of you know him through Flames of War, where he's been working with WWPD in the past, and then now has gotten No Dice, No Glory off the ground. And he is a long time, at least when he started playing Flames of War, his first army was SS. And so when this new book came out from Battlefront for the D-Day Waffen-SS, he's the guy that wrote the article for it for No Dice Glory. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mitch Reed.
Hey, Tom. Welcome. And, you and I go back a long time. We're both WWPD guys, and you're also a founding member of No Dice, No Glory. So
add in Tom Lane, and we have the 3-legged stool.
Yeah, that's true. Oh God, that's any chair attacks. I get a little nervous, but So SS book, you guys have seen it.
Yes.
What do you think? What was your first reaction?
For the SS book itself, I didn't think it was huge. I mean, we already knew that they were going to have the aggressive hit on 3+, and we already knew they were going to have the lower training. So a lot of expectations were already known beforehand. We kind of knew how the formations and the organizations were set up, that they're very similar to the hero units. So the book wasn't too surprising, but when I got to the command cards, that's when things kind of started opening up to me. But I'm also liking that they're coming out with a new a thermoplastic for the infantry for these. So I'm looking forward to see what those are like.
Which, going back, is the only new thing about this book are the thermoplastic SS. Because the infantry did wear helmet covers and they wore the SS smocks. But if you have German toys in late war, you can play them in the SS book because they were painted the same. I mean,
sure.
That's what I think is really neat about it. So I'll give you my first impressions so I saw it as it was being developed and looking at it, and there were some things I really liked about it. Let me go back to why I play the SS. A lot of it was just kind of understanding their role. It's one of those things where, I can't put myself in their shoes for obvious reasons. But just, they kind of had that dual mission for Germany, trying to figure out and understand it. But a lot of it is, the first list I fell in love with was the Viking list, which had the fearless, trained, Panthers, which were the cheapest Panthers you can get.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
That was a fun list. And then you remember with the Panzerkanone?
Yep.
That was such a good list. And it's kind of like you get that German force, and well, you can go here or you can go there. I mean, here or SS. But just the formation, I just started to collect it. The other thing too is I also was building the Canadian Army, and who's the natural enemy of the Canadians? The SS. They fought so many hard-pitched battles in Normandy. But when I started playing regularly, and this is a long, long time ago, I liked the way the SS list played because you got to play them aggressive. Your game's never timed out because either you won it fast or you lost fast. So I kind of like that play style. Most of the time I lost fast. And I think this book, one of the big differences between this version and the last is the SS always came as Fearless Vet. They were so expensive. Now, Viking was the difference. It was Fearless Train. But here in this book, because the stats are done differently, unless you have Tigers, everything's hit on 3. Most everything is trained. But what really got me excited about this book is the special rule, the old hand special rule. I put it in the article, but I can let me just find it here.
Yeah.
Essentially,
one where if you're within 6 inches of the formation commander, then you get to use the formation commander skill for tactics, I believe.
That is true. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it'll help with blitzes and shooting scoots and all that stuff that they'll need to stay alive.
Yeah, I think that is something that, as they play tested, and Phil Yates actually made a comment today about how well the Panthers did in play testing. I think is a benefit of playing them because you're buying stuff kind of cheaper. Now, the other cool thing about them is, if you notice, their artillery is vet, so it hits and it hits hard. And I think that's a good combination. So if you can keep your formation commander around your main Schwerpunkt on the table, I think that's going to be kind of tough to deal with. Yep. Getting hit on 3+ sucks.
Well, if you have more stuff, it's doable, and so you should have more kit here because they are generally cheaper than their here counterparts, aren't they? Or just a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, the Panthers are 3 for 26 points.
3 for 26, yeah. I'm looking. I like that a lot.
So that's just under 9 points apiece when they're 11 for a here one.
Yeah. Now, where you do pay more is with the SS Tigers, but they're Fearless Vets. They're hit on 4 up.
It's not too much more. You got 1 for 13 and two for 25 on the headquarters. It's just 1 point more, right?
Yeah, I believe so. But I think it's still so much better.
Yeah.
For that 1 point.
Counterattack will be better.
Mm-hmm.
The counterattack and less last stand and protected ammo. Those aren't two. Those were like 2 pluses already. Remount and last stand, but the counterattack and the follow me's will be better.
Yeah. I think it's great. Now I am seeing here in this area with the German D-Day list, I'm seeing a lot of Tigers on tables, and I think it's because when you play a themed event like a D-Day event, it really puts the pressure on allied players to bring something to counter the Tiger, and that's why you see so many the tank destroyers, because they hit at 13 and 14, I believe, for the U.S. And you need that to punch through a front armor of 9. However, when you return fire, they're not even taking armor saves because you're punching right through, so you're going right to your firepower. So I think that's probably one of the best lists. I think it's going to continue the meta of folks playing with the Tiger. But if I'm really going to look at what list I am probably going to start playing, is I'm probably going to go with the Panzer IV Tank Company. And I'll tell you why. Because all I have to do is take 1 Panzer IV platoon, and they're 5 points. Actually, they're less than 5 points each. 22 points for 5 Panzer IVs with the headquarters, so I'm at 32 points. With that second platoon, I could take either Tigers or Panthers.
Yeah, very good.
You still had that option in the old book too, but what makes it so much better in this book?
Oh, what makes it so much better?
Is it the fearless train, or the fearless veteran, the Panzers?
I think because they're cheaper. Because I would run a ton of different types of Panzer IV lists, but when you get that fearless vet, Tiger or Panther, it was always a little problematic because that was a very expensive platoon in your formation. I just think that the cost is there because you could put the Tigers in Overwatch and go. The other one too is that it's a big change with version 4 is the Tiger moves as fast as any other tank in the game now.
Right.
And
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That extra 2 inches makes a big deal, and them being able to skin more, perform overboard. Plus, you got the blitz capability, more likely going to pass it, and follow me option there as well. So it's moving a lot faster. It has a much larger effect than it used to. Yeah,
because it was not fun trying to keep your heavies, and when you ran the mixed. So I think that's why in this book it's a better combination. Or you could just be crazy, and I have 24 Panzer IVs in my collection. I can easily run that with a grenadier platoon in back, and I could be that guy. We always hate that guy that does that.
Well, one thing I like with your idea with Panzer IVs is that even if they're hit on 3s, with that old hand rule, if you can keep a couple Panzer IV platoons up close to the formation commander, and you couple that with the stormtrooper with successful blitzing forward and shooting, scooting back, you can make that you can make that 3+ hit on almost irrelevant in some cases, depending on the terrain and how the board is set up.
Yeah, and that's something I haven't played this force yet, but I'm just out there for anybody that wants to play this force. I think playing the SS was a lot of fun in the old book because it was fearless vet. You had a small army. It's if you know how to play with a small force against a big one, that was your only learning curve. Here, it kind of goes back to playing the Viking list where you're trained,
right,
and you don't want to get hit that much. But what is kind of neat is version 4 has the blitz, the shoot and scoot. There's a lot you can do, and I think that is something that this list is really going to excel at.
So what was your formation? What did you kind of have a force makeup in version 3? If you're going to go to Panzer IVs primarily now, what was what is it that you're coming from?
Oh, I have. See, that's a bad question because I'm a Flames of War player. So
you got
yeah. So I have 12 Tigers, 14 Panthers, 24 Panzer IVs. I got more half tracks. I probably have the 250s, the little ones. I really like them. I probably have a good 28 of those. And I actually have everything painted up. My initial army, because back then you can get SS, was all painted SS. And it's the hardest camo to do right. But if you use the right colors, it kind of looks okay. Somebody goes, "Oh, is that P dot or is that oak?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. It's
it's close.
It looks close."
Yeah, I can pull off that splinter camo for Fallschirmjägers and Luftwaffe kind of troops, but I haven't tried the SS stuff with the little P dot in the oak version. So that'll be a painting challenge for sure.
I thought the oak dot was the easier of the 3, but it's because it's the German camo beige, and you just hit it with the little dots. But yeah, I've run all different types in the old book because you play around with different types of forces. My Tigers saw the table the least. My Panthers definitely with the Viking list, but I tended to run armored infantry companies, and it's win big or go home. I went home a lot, so I think it's look, anybody that's played me knows I'm an average painter and an average player. But just looking at this unit, look, some people thumb through the book. There's nothing new. That's true. But
I noticed that.
Go ahead, Adam. Sorry.
I noticed that. Not a lot new. I do see they have the Pack 43s in here. That's good to see. But we're still dealing with the Stug 4s. 48, the L48 gun. I don't see the L70 guns. Come to think of it, they probably came out more during the Bulge time period. But I've been looking forward to this book because it adds so much more flavor to the Normandy stuff, and it gives you other options.
Yep, but
tell you what, I like these cards too.
Yeah, and that's probably where that's what brings the book alive. With the book by itself, I probably wouldn't have been so overly excited about, but the cards are amazing. The way they let you specialize the units and things they bring to bear, just super cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about the cards. I'm excited to talk about the cards. So you get all the D-Day ones, like Pack Front, Old Minefields, Own Gold, Duggan Panzer. But that is not even, I think, the heart of it. The heart of it is getting guys like Barkman, Whitman.
Yeah.
And should we just spoil them now for everybody?
Yeah, spoil them now. Just throw those names out there. You're going to get them crawling for this book as soon as it hits the stand.
Expect to see a lot of Whitman on the board.
All right, so let's
that's
talk
the most
about
impressive card so far. Yeah.
So you can only run them with Tigers. The formation commander is a halted rate of fire of 3 and a moving of 2. And re-rolls all fail to hit rolls when shooting. It's 88. The formation HQ may deploy using the ambush special rule in addition to any other. And units that would normally be held in ambush, even in missions, without the ambush special rule.
Yeah.
This guy's a baller, man.
Yeah.
There's only one bad thing about it.
Well, it's 12 points.
It is 12. It is 12 points.
As much as a whole Tiger tank, but I think it's worth it. I think the rate of fire that he gives and the fact that the headquarters is in ambush in any mission or an additional ambush in a mission that has ambush, that's huge. I mean, this guy can kill 12 points of stuff easily in each turn.
Right.
If he lives more than one turn, he's going to pay for himself. So as soon as he pops out of ambush, he's going to get 3 hits more than likely. With the 3 rerolls there, that's amazing. But you can guarantee it if he's going to be the priority target, and he better not be near anything else because everything's going to hit him.
All 17 pounders will be pointed at him.
Yeah, and the air and the artillery. You got to knock that guy out, or he's going to tear you up every turn he's alive.
Yeah, he's that good. So, and then you get the Tiger Ace skills.
Yeah.
For everything else. Yeah. So you're looking at 15 points. That's for 15 points. If you take these two and the thing is, you got to take a full Tiger unit. And I believe with the Tigers, you can't split it. I'm going to look. So
Tiger Ace, wouldn't that make wouldn't a couple of the cards kind of be redundant if you we're still rolling for him, right? So if you got like the rapid fire, he kind of already has that, and the re-rolls he kind of already had. Even Deadly Gunner is not as good as that. So would Tiger Ace really help him out that much?
No, but it'd help every other guy in the unit. It's like you got all Tigers. So
yeah,
that gets his other buddies that help, which will keep everybody else off of him.
So right now, this as his list, if you're going to take Whitman,
Mm-hmm.
It is 25 because you definitely want to do the 2 tigers in the command team.
Right.
And
25
so
points.
it's going to cost you 75 points. Throw in the 15. So you're already at 90 points for tigers just by taking 6 tigers and Whitman. And what is the current? It's how many points are people playing at now?
Still about 100 or even less for Flames of War. Team Yankee it's like 120s, but
yeah, that's gonna, with this kind of book, you're gonna want to get those higher number tournaments. Otherwise, you're gonna have 6 tanks and maybe a scout platoon in there, maybe.
Yeah. But we do have other dudes that are good. So I have the Barkman set. It had that little truck.
Oh yeah, the repair vehicle.
Yeah.
And people hated him in the game because he would never die. So Barkman, 4 points with the Panther, 1 reroll to hit in each shooting step, and if he's destroyed, if you roll a 5 up, he's bailed out instead.
Yeah, well, that's worth it.
That's not bad for 4 points.
No, that's not only is it greater chance to stay in the game, but also greater chance to knock out enemies. So sold. I would take that.
Yeah, it's an easy 4 points there. It's worth it. Yeah, I favor the Panthers. I like the Panthers and the fact that they dropped the price on these a little bit, point wise. I am going for that.
So in higher point games, let's say somebody has the crazy idea of playing a D-Day game with like 150 points. I would definitely take Whitman, 90 points, bam. But then I would take Rudolph Roy, and I would take a platoon because look what he gets for 5 points.
Yeah, he was a Jag Panther guy or Panzer guy, Panzer IV, Jag Panzer IV.
So he gets a reroll every time he shoots, but his unit gets the scout special roll.
Oh boy!
So they remain gone to ground while moving unless they shoot or assault. So you can keep him around.
That's gone to ground, even in the open.
No, you just have some
concealment. In concealment, right?
If he's moving through Whitfield or woods or something, he'll still be gone to ground so long as he's not shooting.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Or yeah.
Some of these other guys really aren't bad. The Emil Durr one is kind of funny. It's a PEC 40 unit.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. This is the one where the guy, the unit gets destroyed and he runs around with a Panzerfaust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What's his name?
Emil Durr.
Yeah. I guess
oh boy.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. Yeah.
So I think German players are going to love this book. I think Allied players are they're going to complain about it. But I think the onus is on the German player who plays these lists. That I think the learning curve is going to be almost like the Viking learning curve, where you have to know what the list can do well.
Right.
Yeah.
And play that way. Making those blitz, follow me, and shoot and scoot rolls. Look, you could be a great tactician. If you roll poorly, you roll poorly. I think that this is going to be a challenge for German players to kind of master. I can already think of a bunch of guys that are going to be really good at this list. I do think this is for a more aggressive German player. But I kind of like the flavor they're putting in with this book. That there's no new toys, but the flavor is there. And I think for German players, it's you finally have a formation that has some really kind of neat things.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to use the stuff you have. Yeah, there's no new tank models, but it allows you to use it in different ways in different types of formations. So, was there any of the formation cards that the specialty formation cards that kind of got your interest? Were they the first SS or the second? Or I mean, they gave some pretty good typical unit specializations. Was there any there?
But they become real expensive because you're paying per unit. But the Das Reich Your skill goes up to +3 for all units, 1 point per unit. The Libus Standarte, the bodyguards, they actually are unwilling to counterattack, so you actually save some points. I just think that they've included every major SS unit that was in Normandy. But somebody asked, well, what about the Italian Stugs with the 16th SS Panzer? And I got to be honest, I don't remember that one. I know it's not in the book, but
Italian Stugs in Normandy?
Yeah.
In
Captures in Normandy? I didn't think they were.
I don't know about that.
I don't remember it.
I know they used them in Italy.
Oh, yeah, all over Italy, but I don't know anything about them being taken up in Normandy.
Yeah, it was a question that we got on the webpage from, I think, Les from, he runs the, one of the unofficial pages. He runs the version 4 battle group. So let me actually find what he said.
While you're looking it up, I'll tell you one of the formation upgrades I really like is the second SS, the front Swinen card. It's 1 point.
Swine.
It's 1 point per unit, like Mitch said, but it gives you a 3+ tactics. So and then you can ditch the card for a reroll if you need it, if you failed a real key roll. But I kind of like that one.
You can use that card once per unit, right? Each unit gets this.
Yes, because you buy 1 point per unit. So I think each unit you buy 1 point per card, and each one goes to 1 unit. So I think you can ditch it for that unit for their tactics roll. So
so that unit that uses it once can't use it again next time. Or if you had multiple cards, it's per unit, right?
Yes, it's 1 point per unit. So I guess it would be multiple cards that you would actually have out there, even though you only have one physical card in your deck. It would be applicable to multiple units. So.
Yeah, if I was going to look at one, it's the 9th with Britrick. So it's pricey. It's 3 points per Panther. But they become Fearless Vet, hit on 4. I mean, it makes it just as expensive as a Confident Vet Panther from the here.
But they're fearless.
But it's German build formation NESS tank company title, but you can only use it with Panthers. So the way I'm reading this is that if I take that Panzer IV unit and I take the second unit as Panthers, I can buff that second platoon, which may be worth it.
Then this is in the 9th SS Panzer Division cards.
Yep.
Yeah, they had a whole slew. They kept saying like the best, like best Panthers, best Panzers, best Stugs, best infantry, and these are kind of cool because if you came as a player thinking, well, the SS should be some super troopers, they should all be fearless veteran, and they're not thrilled with the 3 hit on 3+. Well, here's your chance. If you want to pay the points, you can get them back up to hit on 4+, and also improve their skill. So there's an option if you really think of the SS as the premier elite formation in the German army, then you can pay the points and run them that way if that's if that's what you want to do.
But you're paying a lot of points. Just I'm adding the points in my head. Even taking the best Panzers for Panzer IVs at 2 points per tank.
Yep.
Well, I'm the guy that runs 24 of them. It somehow starts becoming.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
Well, bring a lot of smoke with you.
Yeah, I won't even run. I won't even run the scout card at 2 points per platoon in mid-war for the Crusaders. So that's too much for me.
The Schnell card for the Hitler Youth.
Yeah, the 12th Hitler Youth. Yeah.
Any units whose unit leaders within 6 inches of this formation commander pass a follow me movement order test on a 2 up. And you can use that for any.
Yeah. And it can still shoot after passing follow me.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's pretty awesome.
That is.
I
pretty
think this may be the hidden one because you're not paying per unit,
Mhm.
and you got to use these guys like kind of in a mass pack anyway.
Yeah.
But I like that, and I know it's going to be an FAQ. Any units whose unit leader is within 6 of the formation commander. So that kind of widens the table up a little bit because it's just the unit leader that has to be where the rest of the unit can be spread out a little bit more. So I kind of like this.
Yeah, so if you because it's only the card is only for a Panzer Grenadier or SS Recon formation. So if you're taking those and you take support unit that is Panthers, right? Then what we're saying is that those Panthers, because it's any unit, it's within 6 inches of this formation commander can pass that movement order on a 2+
for 2 points.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
For 2 points. I mean, it's see, even the dogs upstairs agree.
Yeah,
I think that this is kind of a flavor book. I think they really kind of looked at how the SS was played in the past, and now I think they made the SS more challenging to play, which kind of makes it a little bit more exciting because I think these guys play different than the here. And I think for German players, especially new players, I believe this is their first exposure to the SS in version 4. So I'm trying to think, is the SS anywhere else?
Yeah, we did have them in mid-war, but it's the first time we've had them in late war.
Yeah, in late war. And I think, like, if you have all your German toys, this could be a kind of a neat thing to kind of play just to check out how a different type of German force plays. Right. And it kind of makes me excited to think of what the Germans in the Bulge are going to look like. Not so much for the book, but for the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get Panzer Lehr and the second
Panzer
division. Yeah.
Because the Panthers to the Muse were some of my all-time favorite lists.
Oh yeah.
I like playing, and it's because you can make a unit at anything you wanted. If you want Hummels, you got to do this, and it's really kind of cool. And one of the things now that I hear people saying that they miss about version 3 is the historical units, because now you can kind of make any unit you want and have it on the table. I think this brings back that flavor that folks kind of missed more so than any of the other cards and books that we've seen for version 4 late war. But that's me. I've been wrong a lot.
No, definitely. I said the cards are what really sold this whole set for me. Is it really just and I guess that's probably because I already knew what was going to be in the book. I mean, there had been enough discussions on the Battlefront Twitch TV video cast that they've done, so we kind of already knew there was no big surprise in the book. Is what I'm saying. We kind of already had a pretty clear picture of what it was going to be like long before we had it. But the cards, we had no idea. And those things have just taken it to the hyperdrive for me.
So let me ask you guys a question, because I've mostly, for the last few years, been playing a lot of Germans. I know you guys play a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But how are you changing your allied list based on what this book has?
I haven't really planned on doing a whole lot different. I don't generally. I've always built my list for just all comers. I guess I need to think more about 2 ambushing units for the Tigers, but then I know that if that force is on the board, it's not going to have a whole lot of teams. So I don't know yet. I mean, we play a lot. We're doing a lot of mid-war right now for the Gazala campaign, but we did a bunch of Normandy all through just before the COVID hit us. Ed and I did a lot of 21st Panzer Division fights, and so we certainly play a lot. Probably at least 2, 3, 4 times a month. If not at a tournament, then it probably adds another 3 games a month. So I don't know that I have to change anything yet. It is a different kind of Germans. I guess I need to plan for German players to be more aggressive. So I think that you might need to think more about them choosing attack stance and the battle plans booklet. So that may affect my play style. Because I like to attack, and I don't want to play a bunch of meeting engagements and free for alls and fair fights. I really just like to play attack or defend. I prefer to be on the attack, but if I'm not, I'd rather be defending in an attack defend battle than I would be in a fair fight for just a free for all or something. So.
Yeah, forget that fair fight, right, Tom? I'm going for the unfair fight, and I'm going to win it quick.
Yes, indeed.
And that's what the SS needs to do here, is what I'm saying. I expect that we're going to see a lot more Churchill type units with the heavy armor on there, which will neutralize some of the effects of the Tigers and the Panthers, and then that reroll. But those are expensive. That's what they're going to probably need to do.
I think those Churchills are more at risk now. Because I think you're going to see Tigers be way more popular, and Whitman going to be popular, and Churchills are great, but they're not going to melt to well-handled Tigers.
Right. I agree, but I think they're going to feel the need for that heavier armor.
Yeah, well, I think that's an illusion. I don't think that's going to pull you through. So,
because what you're punching at AT10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to have to get that's going to be rough.
Yeah, Churchill's not going to do it on the offense against or against head to head against these tanks. They're not going to hurt the Tigers or the Panthers, and they're going to be picked off pretty darn quickly. So I think you need to go more light AT, more of the Fireflies, 17-pounders, more tank destroyers, more of the bigger anti-tank guns, the towed ones. So I think but if there's only a handful of stuff, you can deal with it. The ones that kind of scare me are the list that like Mitch is talking about, that has a whole bunch of Panzer IVs. They're pretty cheap, that are well handled, that are doing a good shoot and scoot and good blitz, and are using that old hand rule. If you can lace all these things together, I think you can do extremely well with this. And then a large force, well handled, can be pretty darn scary. So I think I think Mitch has got the force I'm most concerned about.
Sounds like you're talking about my Russians with a large number of stuff. Yeah, mass has a quality of its own.
Quantity has a quality of its own.
Quantity. I knew it was something like that. My memory.
It's something Stalin said. Yeah, I'm excited to play these guys. Matter of fact, I was actually offered at an event not too long ago that I could have built an SS list and brought it because I already had a copy of the book, but people would have killed me. But this is the next time I think there is a World War II event coming up here in the area. I think I'm taking one of these lists. I'll tell you guys which one, but I really want to get all my Panzer IVs on the table because Panzer IV is a pretty good tank.
Yeah.
And if I buy if I buy the right cards, I really think I can overcome some of the problems that can plague an SS list. I just have to be real smart about it and just play it right. Yeah. I'll still lose. We all know that.
It's about the game and how you play it.
Last time I played, I think maybe the only time you and I played in a game of Flames of War together was a doubles event at Historicon, and we actually weren't sitting across from each other, but we were playing doubles, so we were sitting kind of diagonally across from each other.
Yeah.
Were you not playing Germans then? I couldn't remember what type it was, but I thought it was and who was one of your buddies from up in Virginia was your opponent?
The guy with a beard.
I've seen him with a beard often, but I know he didn't always have a beard. Sometimes he has it shaved.
Yeah, usually. I think for doubles, I've always done Germans.
Yeah.
So, and I think I've played Stug lists and whole different types of lists. I just, for some reason, I like playing the Germans because you have so many options. There's so much flavor. But, I was the guy that my Hermann Goering infantry is the old Hermann Goering infantry from version 3. My SS, a real SS. I would paint a new German force for every one of these. My Panzer have the tankers jackets. So
the little U-boat looking uniform with the rusted blazer.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy. I just think it just has a lot of flavor.
Yeah, it does.
And a lot of it's because I don't do Americans, and Americans are pretty good. I would say if you look at the stats of who wins events, it's usually between Americans and Germans lately.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll stick with them. It still, I can roll ones just like anybody else.
Well, one nice thing about I don't know that you need a whole bunch of tigers right now in the current meta, but when we get around to back ration time and you start seeing the ISU 122s and the IS2s and the ISU 152s and the SU 100s and the SU 85Ms, I think those heavier, harder hitting, hard to hit tanks are going to be a little bit more popular.
So I don't want to mention any names, but your Gazala buddy, he's seen the book. I've seen the book, and I don't play Russians. And I am worried about how some German lists are going to do against those.
Yeah.
It used to be you can always beat the Russians because of hen and chicks. And there was just certain things that made the Russians beatable. They were still a great force, but it made it where you can exploit that. And I'm kind of worried that as we go forward, that you're going to see better Russians that play more. It's kind of like what was the Desperate Measures book?
Mhm.
Right.
Hero companies. Damn, I hated those. I mean, because they were hard to beat. They were smaller, but against a really good Russian player, I never had a chance.
Yeah.
So,
We will see how well they hold, but there'll also be other German lists for Bagration too. So
they will. I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, well, I would say there'll be
Yeah.
something out there, theoretically, something that, and possibly, I wonder if they'll do East Front SS also, or if this is the same one SS to cover both fronts. I mean, I guess it says D-Day SS, Waffen-SS, so I guess that's focused on just the Normandy. But something else to think there. We may see some other options that they have later that we don't see now.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. Like somebody did ask me not too long ago about all these German lists look the same. Well, they kind of were the same. What are they going to be doing for Bagration? What are they going to do for? Because they're going to do bulge books as well. I mean, you have another 2 years of late war coming out. What are they going to do? And maybe it's not the book you look forward to because of the formations kind of look the same. It's the cards, I think, that are really going to make it that much better. So, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I think we've had a pretty good immersion here with the D-Day Waffen-SS book. But before we broke contact here, Mitch, we wanted to talk a little bit about last weekend. Pretty spectacular weekend, and you had a huge part in that. So why don't you let us know? Go ahead.
I don't know her. I never met her before. Oh, wait. You're talking about
the part.
Oh, yeah. This is the part I can talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know her. I never seen
met
her
her before in my life.
Well, actually, I really want to thank you for partaking, but let's explain what we did. So, just a few weeks ago, and I mean it, just a few weeks ago, one of our writers, Dennis, said, "Hey, we're going to be doing." He asked me some questions about how to run an online tournament. I go, dude, I played TTS. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said that they were going to do a online tournament, and I knew
online convention more than just
online convention. Sorry, I can't even think. I'll tell you later, but I had to take Monday off from that weekend. So he wanted to do it, and he's like about lining up speakers, and I thought I'd be able to get a couple. And as I started reaching out, so let's explain what it was. It was Cyber Wars 2020. It was the same weekend. Actually, it really wasn't, but it was the same weekend historically when we've held Historicom, and it was online gaming, an online vendor hall, online merch store, but No Dice, No Glory ran the roundtable, which we had 20 speakers or 18 speakers, and we had 22 hours of content that came out. It was July 23rd to 26th, and we ran speakers Thursday night, Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
And
I have to go ahead.
I was going to say some of those events had multiple speakers.
Some of those events had multiple speakers.
All 3 guys from Plastic Soldier Company, I remember.
Did you listen to that one yet?
Yes, I did. I
Those
did
guys
not.
are hilarious.
Hmm?
Those guys are hilarious.
Oh yeah, they were. I had to watch the YouTube version of it, but because it came right after the one that I moderated, and I was a little fried, so I had to take a break.
And Simon was on both.
Yeah.
So we had speakers that ranged from what I like to call influencers, people that do reviews. So most of the folks, I didn't expect a large amount of folks to say they were into this and speaking. I didn't have to twist anybody's arm. It's because we don't have tournaments. They're not reaching their audience. They're not doing this interaction that they normally do, talking
Right.
about new stuff. So they all jumped on it, and I'd say wholeheartedly jumped on it. So we had influencers, some great game reviewers. So I've been friends with Maurice Fitzgerald forever on YouTube. I mean, on Facebook. Never spoke to him before. I love that guy because he is. If you're into board gaming, he's excellent. We had professional war gamers. We had Matt Caffrey, who wrote the book on wargaming. We had our own Phil Bulger, who is a hobby and a professional wargamer. Mm-hmm. And we had Sebastian Bay from Georgetown University, which we only gave him an hour, but because there was nobody, because that was in the middle of you doing Flames of War. It was a 2-hour block of time. They went an extra half hour, and the questions were amazing.
Wow.
So we ended up having 435 people attend live, and that's unique users. And then the amount of YouTube hits we had during the run of the event was a little over 900. So it was an amazing time. I know, Tom, that you had 2 long interviews, but I know you had a good time.
Oh, I did. Yeah. And for our listeners here, I got to co-moderate the Battlefront session with Phil Yates and Chris Townley. And unfortunately, we didn't get a whole lot of new scoop stuff because they've put out so much stuff on the Twitch TV info sessions they've done. But it was still great. They talked about game design and a little bit about stuff coming up in the future. So it was a good time.
Yeah, it was amazing. The speaker that you spoke to on the Simons.
Yeah, the 2 Simons, Simon Elliott and I think Simon Hall. One of them was a doctor, the Mortem et Gloriam, which by the way, after we got done and took a break, had dinner that night, I ordered those rules from Noble Knight Games. So that's how much I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, so since then, Plastic Soldier said, "Hey, we really want to work with you guys more." It was a lot of fun. It was fun. It was exhausting. I took off. I took Monday off just to relax from it.
I believe it.
But it was one of those kind of good funs, and the comments we got back from the community were amazing. That, hey, we needed this. And one thing I kind of noticed where we would cut off the talking because we were running close to the time, especially for the longer sessions. But if the channel wasn't being used, people would stay in the channel. People stayed if you look at the amount of time people stayed on average, was longer than most of the sessions we had. Gamers missed each other. Gamers missed talking about their favorite things. They missed the connection with other gamers. So I had a great time. You did an amazing job.
You did a ton of stuff. So I just was able to cherry pick a couple nice ones that I was interested in.
Yeah. And then some of the real popular ones, I'll tell you what, man, ASL has a cult following.
Yeah.
Because that was just those folks have been going through that video over and over again, but it was a great time, and we may get asked to do it again in November
for Fall-In.
Yeah.
So they should call it Fallout or something instead of Fall-In or something.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to call it, but
I don't know. So
But HMGS was happy, very happy. We got that many folks to kind of join in on the fun. It's really only 2.5 weeks of planning.
Yeah, I really want to do some gaming, but I was working so hard to try to prepare for the moderation and reviewing the products and going trying to learn as much as I could about the rule set for the Mortem et Gloriam beforehand and looking at the period that they were talking about. So I didn't get a chance to participate in any of the online games. So hopefully in fall I get a chance to do that. I'm still happy to help moderate and do some stuff like that, but I do want to try to game next time around.
Yeah. I sent them the after actions report. They're going to comment on it. Then I'm going to send it to all you guys because he needed it right away for the board meeting. But yeah, there's some ways we can do. I mean, it's look, if you don't live in the Eastern U.S. time zone, it was kind of hard. And that's why I appreciate the folks from Great Britain and Australia joined us.
And
New Zealand and South Africa. Yeah. And I thought that was amazing. But I said, if there's any way we can try to do that maybe more spread out over that weekend, that would be great. But yeah, great job for everybody on the team. And I'm excited to do it again because we had such interesting people.
Well, we'll look forward to it. And hopefully we'll continue to have, we have here some more focus on Flames of War. Maybe by November, we'll be past the stuff we know about now, and they'll be talking a little bit more about Checkpoint Charlie and Bush Wars and some of those other things they've been hitting around at. So hopefully we have some more some juicy tidbits for the next time around. More exciting. So it'll be good. Well, Mitch, this has been great. We've been going for about a good hour, so we do appreciate you sharing your thoughts and insights with the SSD Day book, and we certainly do appreciate what you did. Hats off to you. You were the main workhorse that made that whole Cyber Wars thing, go off like it did, and it was a huge service to the gaming community as a whole, and I'm glad you're already leaning forward in the saddle, looking forward to do it again. So, Ed, any other last thoughts here?
I want to play.
You want to try some squad leader? You want to get back into that? Squad leader.
Ed,
might have to.
Ed, did you play squad leader?
I think it's.
Oh yeah, I played 40 years ago, 30, 35,
right. So,
40 years ago.
We got to turn the recording off and deprogram Ed. Tom.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. So, all right. Well, we appreciate it, Mitch, and we look forward to seeing you down the road here. And
anytime, guys.
Target. Ceasefire.
Well, that was a good talk with Mitch there, Tom. I'm glad we were able to get a hold of him. Yeah, I think the last time you and I ran into him was there in Fredericksburg. Was that last year or the year before last?
Oh, that was more like 4 years ago. We went out there to training at Fort Lee, and there was a Battle of the Bulge tournament we played in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I went out there. I had a couple of King Tigers and Fallschirmjägers and captured Shermans. I don't remember what you were playing.
I had Grenadier Infantry. I'd rushed to get my winter scenes for my German infantry. So that is probably the last time I used them.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual when we both play the same side as far as Axis and Allies. Normally we go opposites so that wherever we go, we provide balance.
We provide balance to the force.
That's right. Yeah. So we do that. So
now around here it's called unbalanced.
Yeah. So I think that's when I first met Mitch Reed. I had been working with him with WWPD for a bit, so he was there. He did an interview of myself and Paul Bellerive, who used to be in Alpha Company 1-8 Cab with me. So it was a pretty good little time, a little ways back. So things that are coming up. So what do you got working on here in the near future, Ed?
Well. What am I working on right now? I'm wrapping up some Stuart tanks that I have the M8 option for the turret and a couple of little odds and ends stands. But then I'm breaking out my World War I French, and that's I know it's something for the past 3 years you told me to keep working on, but I'm actually going to do it this time.
Excellent.
And try to get that done.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I got my Germans ready to go.
I know you do.
You probably tear me up with those little FT-17s. You probably have a bunch of those running around.
I do.
Yeah. Really pretty cool. No, I like the World War I version of the game, and I especially like it with the terrain and the cratered fields, the destroyed church, destroyed build. I mean, I have that whole Battlefront destroyed village now. So
wow.
they just put the craters around. It just looks awesome, like it's in the no man's land.
Yeah.
So be pretty cool games of that. So I guess I need to get started on my U.S. Team Yankee stuff. I guess that's what I need to do. I've already started prepping early war French. So I need to but it's not a big lot. It's not a whole army. It's just some odds and ends. I need to just finish off from my early war French, so I can get them done. And hopefully we'll play early war at some point in the future. But then I guess I need to focus the rest of the year on my Team Yankee US and get those guys up. So that will be good. I just
want to have my stuff ready for you when you do want to play.
Yep.
So my World War I stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. So how big is that force going to be?
It's huge. I've got everything for the French, and I've got the extra infantry. I've got everything, and I've got I think I got 10 FTs. Yeah, 10 FTs. I've got the armor cars. I've got the other tanks as well. I can't remember what they're called.
Saint-Chamond.
Yes.
And the Schneiders. They have the long Saint-Chamond and the short Schneider.
Yeah, I think I have that long, skinny one. Which one is it?
That's the Saint-Chamond. It has a French 75.
I got two of those. I got 2 of those, and I've got 3 of the other ones.
The Schneider has the short barrel.
I
think
75.
Is it a 75? Yeah, it's a little short barreled stuffy thing. You barely even see it. Barely sticks past the front of the glacis.
Side mount. Yeah,
that should be pretty awesome. I got some A7Vs, but really it's the infantry. I have a lot of anti-tank rifles, and I have that little crude anti-tank towed thing. I don't know what. I think maybe it's like 20 millimeter or something. It's just a little special anti-tank gun. Got some of those, so I won't be too heavy on the tank side. Oh, and the German machine guns. Since you haven't played World War I yet, the German machine guns have special armor-piercing ammo, so they're AT3. So they can actually punch through the front of those front armor 1 vehicles. Like
we played World War I. I have some German stuff, and I do have the German tanks, but I didn't play my stuff when you and I played because I think I played with somebody else's Brits or
probably mine.
Yeah, I think it was yours.
Yeah. I have because I have a German force and a British force that are both pretty well fit, and that British force that was painted by our friend Charles McKellar.
Yeah,
I did not paint that. I think I painted the tanks, but he painted all the infantry, and that's one of the only Flames of War collections I have that was not painted by me. So I just couldn't get it. Yeah, I don't want to get I was working on the Germans, and I wanted the British to be ready at the same time so we could start playing with them. So I just commissioned him to do them. He did a great job for him. So very cool.
They do look really good.
Yeah. So I'll get these early war French cranked out and roll into the Team Yankee stuff. Probably going to do an M1 IP company, and then probably back it up with some Bradleys, and we'll see where it goes from there. Just basically, I'm trying to recreate a Delta company to a CAV circa 1990. So I'm going to put it together with the stuff that we would have seen at Fort Hood in January 1990. So
are you going to make a plastic figure that's you?
Yeah. I don't know. Just you need one without the CVC on. You need one without a hat so you can see the bald head.
Yeah, there you go. Kill him with the glare, man. He's got a laser.
Yeah. Have to do it's a good thing with plastic. You can whittle it down and sand it down. So
sure you can.
Maybe I could do that.
Like a cone head, but other than that,
Well, that'd be a very realistic impression.
We are from France.
Yes. So maybe I could cut off one head and kind of hollow out the face to make a CVC, which is the combat vehicle crewman helmet. Have that off to the side, and then have a bald-headed tanker. So
that'll be good.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It would just be one of the platoon leaders, though, in that scenario.
There you go.
And then I'll for the M109. So you know what I'm going to do for that?
You'll have me up there.
I'll put an Ed Hall figure on there. I'll probably have it in the turret backwards or something, or with a map like there's Lost or something.
Which way did you say they went?
Yeah. Well, I have a Soviet BTR-50, which the BTR-50 was one of the Battlefront models made for Vietnam. But I had a single one, so I painted it up as Russian, and because the Russians still use BTR-50s, even until I took some of the dismounted tankers from World War II because it's the same uniform, and I put one where one guy's kneeling holding a map, and then I've got another guy who's kind of halfway out of the turret, kind of talking to him. So it's like they're lost, they're trying to figure out where. And I use that either for an objective or sometimes I use it for my BMP OP vehicle, just so it sticks out a little bit more. So, anyways, good stuff. Well, cool. Well, now it's time for rules Ed forgot. So, Ed, what rule did we forget the last time we played?
I think you do this to me on purpose, Tom. All right, hang on a second. I know we talked about it. It has to do with concealment.
Yes.
It had to do with my Italian concealment in the open.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yep, that is the rule that you forgot in our last game.
Okay, now remind me how that works again, Tom. I forgot.
Well, the scenario was you had some Italians that were stationary out in, I think they were close to a mine. Anyways, it didn't matter where they're at, but they're out in the open.
That's right.
But they did not move. Mm-hmm. They did shoot that turn, but they did not move. So in my following turn, I went to shoot at them, and I'm counting the number of dice and saying, I need to hit you on a 5+. And you say, no, it's a 4+. They're hit on 4s. And then I had to remind you about the concealed in the open because you had not moved in that turn. So the way it works is if infantry does not move, they get concealment, even if they fire afterwards. If they do not move and do not fire, then they get concealed and gone to ground, both. So a lot of people would think you only get it if you don't move and don't fire. And I think a reason for this is that there's no marker for it. Right? Mm-hmm. There's no marker out there to remind somebody that a unit should have the benefit of concealed in the open, an infantry unit anyways.
Yeah.
So what are some ideas you have for trying to mark units to remind you that they're concealed in the open?
Well, it's sort of like what I did with my blitz stuff because I couldn't remember who passed and who didn't. So I turned the old bogged down counters into blitz counters. So blitz fail, blitz pass. And I'll probably need to do the same thing with the concealment in the open. Yep.
Sounds like a possibility.
Yeah.
I think there's the old bog marker, which we don't use anymore, the triangle. Mm-hmm. So if you have the older set of markers, that's still in there.
Yeah.
You could also just turn over, like I'll take the gone to ground marker and I'll put it upside down, just the rectangular marker. Because if it's down, if I don't move them, I put it down upside down, and then if I following don't shoot them in the shooting step, then I can flip it over to gone to ground. But it's already
a good idea. Yeah.
Or you could consider just if you had a little pile of lichen or something, at the edge of the table, you could kind of put in some lichen bits in front of the unit to kind of symbolize.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
It's a little modeling effect.
A little terrain to it, and I like that a lot.
Yeah. So, anyways, but you're not the only one that forgets that. It's a rule that I think most people forget, and even good players at tournaments I've seen forget that they get kind of caught up in the tempo and kind of forget to go ahead and remember who did not move that was infantry, and then take advantage of them being concealed in the open. And that's really important if you're a veteran, because veteran troops really benefit from this heavily. So you definitely don't want to forget it for them. So
I wonder how many times I've done this over all the tournaments that I've played, and how that has affected the overall outcome. I would imagine it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, probably about as many times as you did not move infantry in the open. Anyways, so hopefully that's one you'll be watching out for in the future. And so with so with that, we'll get back to our regular programming, and we'll see you all later.
Tank!
Well, let's. We've had a great time here. We had about an hour with Mitch, and we've had about probably about a good 40 minutes of us. So why don't you tell us about some of the upcoming events there, Ed?
Yeah, we got two actually coming up, believe it or not, both on the same day. We got, and this is the 15th of August at Leesburg, Virginia. We've got a Team Yankee Desert Norms,
Yeah.
what it's called, and it's a 120-pointer.
Is that like Norm from Cheers?
Yes, yeah.
Norms, like the Bears.
Norm.
We're like the Bears. Norm. Yeah.
All right. And so the other one is Newark, Ohio. That's about what, 4 hours or so north of us, Tom?
Yeah, for us, that's a pretty good haul for a day trip.
That's a good haul, but it's a 100-point late war. God, if the COVID's down, we might want to think about it if we can break away at the same time.
It's still 2 weeks away, so we'll see. Yeah. That I know. I believe John Muir's going there. Our buddy John and Carl Carl from Cincinnati will be there.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
I'm sure a lot of it's on the east side of Columbus, so I'm sure have a lot of the Columbus Flames of War group, which is a pretty strong group, and probably have Cincinnati area. And then I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Pittsburgh guys.
Pittsburgh usually shows up, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's only limited to 12 players, so they got to keep their spacing. So it may already be filled up.
Yeah, wow.
So
we need to give them a call then.
Yeah, and before we break on future events, I've got to go back and correct one of our earlier events that we talked about, one of the past ones. The early war tournament that we covered earlier in this podcast was actually played at D6 Games in Rochester. It was not at Dreamers Vault.
Not at Dreamers? Yeah.
Yeah. No, those I think one's just over the state line. And so they go ahead and those groups kind of migrate back and forth to those two game stores. So a pretty good deal.
I wish we had another group that was closer to us that we could do that kind of stuff with.
Well, yeah. We used to have a group out in Lexington back in the day. They kind of Albrights turned into Battle Forge, and then Battle Forge kind of relocated and downsized. So they used to have a pretty good Flames War group out there, and then they kind of switched over to Battle Bolt Action, sort of. But they really are all over the place. But you never know. We go out there and play some demo games and get some people, show them how version 4 works, maybe get some interest going. I do know they play a little bit of Team Yankee out there. So they do a little bit of that.
Work out something.
Yeah, it'd be good. That's what you have to do. If you want to inspire stuff, you got to be willing to travel. You got to be willing to put on games and set things up for folks. So you kind of have to come to their house to kind of get the spark going.
Yeah, so, I remember they used to have a good collection of blisters out there. That's what I like going out there.
Yeah, at one point they had every single blister that Battlefront made on a wall, all of them. I mean, it was like a 30-foot wall, about 6 foot high, and it was covered from almost knee level to about 6 feet up. Each little blister rack, and normally about 4 or 5 blisters deep. It was quite impressive, but that was a long time ago when they had that.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since we've been there.
Yeah, I believe one of the store owner had a relative that worked for Battlefront and was so did some special deal to get such a huge volume. But yeah, it was great. We could go out there and pretty much find those odd blisters from long ago. So I don't know what happened to all those because their new store doesn't have hardly. You probably haven't been there yet. It's on the.
I have not.
It's on the north side of Lexington now, and it's a good bit smaller. In fact, the retail area is pretty tiny, and then there's a kind of a workshop area in the back they turned into like gaming rooms. So so they're still there, and they're just different focus, and so we can try to get out there and see if we can get things fired up. Anyways, but that's be post-COVID time, I'm sure. So anyways, well, I guess, Ed, that's about all we've got. Folks, if you have any feedback for us, have any ideas for shows or things you'd like us to cover, or if you like what we're doing, fine. It's even good just to hear that. Then drop us a line. You can contact us at podcast@battlebolt.com. Podcast and BattleVolt, all one word, .com. you can go to the No Dice, No Glory forums, and there's a podcast subforum in there to give us feedback and criticism. And I'm sure when we post this on No Dice, No Glory, there'll be a page link there, and you can comment there on that page that announces this podcast when it comes out. So lots, 3 different ways at least you can get feedback to us, or you can just see us at some event and punch us in the gut and tell us we suck. Right?
I'm being stalked, Tom. I'm being stalked.
That works too. That's all right. So, anyways, just let us know. We've got what is this now? This is the 8th podcast we've done.
Yes.
We're in the 7th month, but we've done 8 podcasts. We committed to do 1 podcast a month, so we'll have another one in August, and so we've got at least 5 more coming. Yeah, 5 more coming, and who knows? Maybe we'll get a bonus one in. So maybe instead of 12, we'll have like 14. Maybe do another end of the year one, and then we'll
Maybe
look forward.
special, like a Christmas special.
Yeah, and then we'll figure out if we want to, if this is worthwhile for you all, do it for us to continue for another year. We'll reassess and see where we're going. So hopefully we'll still be playing Flames of War and Team Yankee, and hopefully this COVID thing lets up by then, right?
Yep, and it's not going to stop me.
No, indeed. So, oh yeah, we'll you and I will play a Gazala campaign battle this weekend, right?
Yes, I think I want to play the tank one. I think that'll be the better of the battles. And I haven't been playing tanks lately, so that'll be fun to
we've
break
gone
up the old ones.
Yeah, we've been going through some infantry slugfest that have not gone well. So maybe
For me,
yeah, right for you. So you'll have 2 extra units of Panzer IIIs, about 40 extra bonus, Firestorm units.
That's right.
For the point. And then I'll have a platoon of Grants and a platoon of 25-pounders. And I wish the Grants could be part of the formation. I wish they didn't have to be support, because I might take a Grant company of our Grant squadron.
Well, I'm glad you're not.
Yeah, well, I still might, but it just kind of, when it's on there as a support unit, it's kind of like, it kind of sucks that you can't count it as part of your formation just because it's a Firestorm unit.
Well, it's gonna soak up rounds any way you look at it, because I got to do something about them, or else they'll eat me up.
Yeah. Well, you can bring an 88 or 2 and park them in the backfield. It is it'll probably be a desert board. Hell, we're playing at your place, so you'll probably set up the table. So just leave me a couple of hills to hide behind if you put out 88s. So
I will think about that. Yeah.
Well, they're pricey, but they can be fun.
Yeah.
So good deal. All right. Well, we hope everybody out there stays safe and COVID free. If you're going to game responsibly, wear your mask, and try to game in isolated locations at your home, and try to game with folks that are quarantining as much as you are. Isolating, I guess would be the better term, right? Or being cautious. And if you're going out to a tournament, have fun, be safe, and try to keep those masks on and keep your distance. So get your gaming in, but don't bring anything back, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, Ed. You got any closing thoughts for the field out there?
Oh, that's good. I'm getting motivated to do some work around here. But
right.
Looking forward to this month. Hopefully it'll get better.
All right. We'll say goodbye to the field.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next month.
All right. Take care. See y'all.